This week's review is Analogue Strings by Output. It runs in the free and full version of Contact, versions 5.6.5 and above, and is almost 20 gigabytes compressed. It's just one big Contact patch. Although it looks complex, it's really quite easy to break down in terms of its functionality. At its heart, it's a dual sound source rompler with the emphasis on string sounds. So you've got real orchestra strings that have been sampled here, synth strings as well, and other audio that's been manipulated too. There's 500 presets and you can browse those via tag and category. You can also favourite the presets that you like. The sources here are comprised of 30 orchestral, 30 synth and 30 creative sounds. Then the other pages of the interface are for changing the envelope and width, adding effects, rhythm and arpeggios. Output have also brought back the macro system, which users of Substance might be familiar with. There's 4 different sliders here on the main page, and these can be adjusted to multiple parameters in the interface in user-defined ranges. So first off, let's have a listen to how Analogue Strings sounds. I'm going to run you through some of the things that I really liked about this library. First off, the presets do all sound very different, although most of them are really nothing like strings. I did love the ability to choose portions of the source samples to play and also to be able to reverse the samples. The tape loops sync nicely to tempo, and I did also find the help overlay very useful. You've got a really large range of presets here with sensibly assigned macro options, so I enjoyed tweaking those just on the fly without having to go too deep into the interface. But once I did go deeper, I also loved the extensive editing options, although it's a little bit easy to get lost with all the dials. It's super easy to be able to change the sound sources. You just flick left and right on the arrows, or you can open up the menu. And it's kind of similar to Substance in its editing and macro options. So if you've used Output's previous library, you shouldn't find much difficulty using this one, as long as you can figure out where all the knobs are. Although this library is mostly good, it's not perfect. There were a few cons. When I found out the library was almost 20 gigabytes, I did expect more sound sources. Now, granted, what's there can be twisted and manipulated into many different sounds using the options and effects, but I did expect more than 90 different sound sources that are on offer here. Compared to the ease that you can swap the sound sources in and out, changing the rhythm presets is a bit of a palaver in comparison. Using the drop-down menu and then having to click load every time to preview these different rhythms was a bit of a pain. By default, the mod wheel isn't assigned to anything, but you can obviously set it to control any contact parameter at all with a right click in the normal way. But because each preset has different macros set up, this can be unpredictable in terms of the sounds. It would have been nice to have a standardised mod wheel control, maybe just something simple like a high cut filter or something like that, because this would have been standard across all of the patches, so I would have known what to have expected. So in conclusion, you've never heard a string library quite like this, and that could be a good or a bad thing, depending on the genres of music that you create. Some will find the presets here are way too out there to be used in their own productions without lots of tweaking. But I suspect that hybrid, experimental, trailer and especially dance producers will find plenty of gems to spice up their tracks without too many adjustments. I do recommend you check out Analogue Strings by Output. Thank you so much for watching. That's just a small taste of the Samplecast, a weekly podcast and YouTube show for sample library geeks and plugin enthusiasts. You can find out more information at thesamplecast.com. Don't forget to subscribe.